Good morning, Vietnam. Or no, you know what? In all seriousness, it is Pearl Harbor Day. Let's remember the fallen on that day, because that was a significant event that reshaped our nation, but for the better long term. But it was a lot of carnage to get there. Now, as you'll see, there's still snow on the ground. I had to take a walk today, though, because if I don't, then I just feel like I'm not productive. I need to do something, right? And so we're taking a walk in one of the most beautiful parks in the area. Used to be a very nice golf course, Clinton Hills, back in the day. I used to play this one often, especially back in high school. I even have the Lancer Classic. This is a tournament that I played at this golf course. But as you can see, everything's dying. This will all come back and be blooming in the summertime. It's a really beautiful park. Even in the wintertime it is. But we're just going to kind of cruise through, and I just wanted to talk to you also about, in this video in particular, how we can spot opportunities ahead of time before other people find out about them, right? So finding stocks that are at, let's say, I talk about a stock, for example, I just made a video about a stock trading at 0001. And basically the stock is trading at this price because there's little buyer demand. And also the supply of shares has been increasing only because of dilution, which is being resolved as we speak. And I believe it'll be resolved soon for this company. But the point is, the fundamentals of the company are very strong. So what I think is going to happen, this is my prediction, is because they're expected to do $43 million in revenue. I quoted that in my last video. There's actually a link and you can follow it for verification. $43 million, fiscal year 2025. And what they're going to be doing is they're going to be locking in this revenue. You have a market cap of 1 million. So why is the market cap of 1 million relevant when you have revenues of 43 million? It's because the price to sales ratio at that valuation does not make any sense. Okay. So if you have a price to sales ratio of, let's just say, 10, all right. So a price to sales ratio of 10 means that you have $1 million in sales and your market cap's at 10 million. Well, hopefully you're expecting some growth or some good future growth from that. But the problem is that if you don't have that future growth, then you're valuing 10 times as much. In this case, though, it's the exact opposite. So we have a price to sales ratio fractions of 1. And that's because the market cap's only about at 1.1 million and the revenues expected are 43 million. So if you want to check out my last video, you can on this stock. I'm not going to mention it in this video. It's for only that video. If you're interested, you can watch it and I'll leave the link down below. But that's just an example of a stock that, I'm not going to go in like a deep dive analysis on that one and keep talking about it because I don't want to create the illusion of bias either. I like to, mix up, even though I do own a position in that one. I also own a position in Amazon, right? And I've owned positions in gold mining stocks, etc. The problem is that there's so many opportunities out there, and oftentimes we as investors lose sight. There's too much data. It needs to be consolidated. And so that's kind of where daily investment advice comes in. I actually have created that for $6.99 per month. If you're interested, you can check it out below. And it's a great way to support the channel if you do end up signing up. And if not, I hope you guys enjoy the videos that we often make on the channel already. And most of them are free, right? You can join the channel memberships as well. That's another way to support the channel for $6.99 per month. But at the same time, I really do hope you guys enjoy these videos as we often take walks in the park. We're going to get back into this type of formatted video because I just got a new cell phone. This is actually the first new video that I'm making with my new iPhone 16. Not 17, just the 16. But finally got a cell phone back to the 21st century. And as we look at this, we're going to be thinking about how we can accumulate shares of a company like the example just mentioned that was a company or is a company. And there's other examples. For example, AZRH, Azure Holdings already went on a parabolic run. I would say your point of maximum opportunity is limited on this one because it already hit $2 per share. Now, when we started talking about this stock on the channel, keep in mind, it was under 10 cents per share. So people who bought early would have gotten, and there's some people in the comments, one person in particular, I forget who you are, said you bought 20,000 shares and sold them for over $1, which is amazing. You're making really good money. I mean, why not? It's just very exciting to think about these things. So as we think about the market and as we think about how you can make money in terms of your own risk tolerance and investing goals, you also have to look at stocks like, you can look at biotech stocks if you're into growth. You can look at, Tonix Pharmaceuticals was a winner on the channel as well. We've mentioned that one. We need to, try to think about all these various opportunities, because oftentimes what happens is we get tunnel vision, and that's a problem in investing, and we don't want that. So, but once you get all the different opportunities in your face, you then need to be very selective of those opportunities which you actually choose to act upon. You only want your top 3 ideas. And that's a concept for Warren Buffett as well. So I'm going to be thinking about 3 stocks that have those criteria, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, as the example of 43 million in revenue and a $1.1 million market cap with restructuring, balance sheet, everything. And they're talking about a NASDAQ uplisting. It's currently trading on the OTC markets. But at the same time, the market value of that company, if it shoots up to 100 million from 1.1 million, then you're going to be sitting very pretty. And that's the point. You have to find these opportunities early on. And this stock has literally done this, a nosedive and then flatlined down. So it's literally at the bottom end, bottom trend. And all you have to do is look at it from that perspective. And that's what I've been doing. The market cap is cheap, the sales, and not to mention this is a profitable company. And so it's all those factors combined and so much more. And that's why I believe this one is going to go parabolic someday. And so those are the things you can look for. Now, just because these factors are present does not mean necessarily, obviously nobody knows what's going to happen in the stock market. The stock market is unpredictable most of the time, okay? And so if you're, well, I say, no, actually all the time. What am I saying most of the time? All the time. So like even famous investors, they say nobody really knows what's going to happen in the stock market. I think that's another quote from Warren Buffett. Like nobody knows, or maybe it was Charlie Munger, but nobody knows really what's going to happen to the stock market. They don't. And we don't, I don't, but you can use data and tools to help you out. That's where hopefully we can consolidate that data, make your job easier, save you a ton of time. That's what we're doing here on Daily Investment Advice, is trying to save you as much time as possible, and only for $6.99 per month. Like, you can't go wrong, right? So with that being said, I just want to say that some of these factors are like doing research, obviously, but you have to look at the technicals too. So I always say fundamentals and technicals. Don't just look at the business, but also look at the chart. Is the stock already priced to that level that you might think is a good buy? And the answer might be absolutely not. The stock may have already gone up significantly, and maybe the stock is really just to the point where it's, what's the word I'm looking for? It's already gone past the point of no return in terms of you are the greater fool if you end up buying this stock. And that's the problem, because if the stock has already gone up 1,000%, then how can you justify buying the stock at these levels? Well, you could look at the fundamentals, but at the same time, if it's a parabolic straight line, people are going to be taking profits. And so it's one of those balancing acts of like, look at the opportunity. You don't have to necessarily buy at the point of maximum opportunity where it's a flat line trend and it might start to, go back up. But at the same time, you really want to think about the technicals, because the technicals can be very important. And if you're not careful, you can get yourself stuck in a situation where you end up buying a stock with good fundamentals, but at the wrong price, and potentially at a devastatingly wrong price, to the point where you have to wait years just to recoup your initial investment because of the amount of mania that was built into the stock, and you missed out on it already because you did not buy at your maximum point of opportunity. So both of these factors are extremely important. And it's a cold one today, guys. I'm not going to stay out here too long, just taking a quick walk in the park. It's a beautiful day, still in this park, because I love just coming out here, and there's plenty of lakes and all kinds of stuff. Like I said, this used to be a really nice golf course, and I used to love playing this. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Just some tips for pointing out like what I look for in terms of parabolic stocks. How do I find opportunities like that? And one of the things I would look for, obviously, like I said, the numbers, the price to sales ratio. Are they profitable? What type of industry? Who are the management team? And additionally, like, where does it trade? OTC, NASDAQ, that gets into liquidity risk. And then you get into, broad stock market risk, sure. But small caps tend to be, I think, less affected by overall stock market trends, I think, in terms of the major indexes, right? So they're, especially like OTC stocks, they're not going to be impacted the same way, I would think. But, they could be, absolutely, especially with interest rates and everything else. We've seen what can happen. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you all in the next one. Take care out there.